Hello and welcome to the gun shop.
With me, Dan.
And me, John.
And today we're going to do an overview on Caesar Guerini.
What would you like to call them? Caesar Guerini.
Guerini.
No, dreamy.
Dreamy.
Dreamy Caesar.
Dreamy
because they're
Caesar.
so pretty.
Now we've got every one off our wall, and we've
There isn't
ended
very
up
many of them
with
though,
6.
actually.
Where have they all gone?
We've sold a few. Sorry. Seems to be that way, doesn't it?
Should we start your end or should we start my end?
Let's start my end.
Start your end then.
So, actually, let's start with more of a wide-angle perspective of Caesar Guerini.
Who is Caesar Guerini?
Caesar Guerini started a few years ago, a couple of brothers. Obviously, like a lot of the Italian gun trade, they're quite... Inbred is the wrong word. Intermingled, interlocked. A tight-knit community. So these guys did work for two other major brands, who we've also done videos for, actually. And they came out with these. They are awesome, awesome guns, and they really are taking the UK by storm. Mostly because they're dreamy looking.
Yes.
They put an awful lot of effort into the fit and finish of their guns. The engraving patterns are all stunning, and the way they're put together and finished, great wood quality, great blacking quality, just really nice looking guns. And you know, with a 10-year warranty to back it all up, which is pretty good, right?
Yeah.
They have two major lines. Now they've actually got a third major line that's more of a spur. Game guns and sporters. And unlike other brands that sort of just go, well, this is kind of like a game variant of all the others because, you know, we put a solid rib or we put a solid bead on there instead of an orange one, these guys really do distinguish amazingly between their two lines. So all of their game guns come with Prince of Wales, skinny rib, bead sight, thin filed rib. Very nice little things, as well as a lot of other things as you go up through the grades. Solid top rib, solid midden tops, beautiful little finishing touches, wooden heel plates, even finished some in wood, which is really nice. Whereas all of their sporters, let's pick a nice generic one, full pistol grip palm swell, crown line double bead sight ribs, big heavy stocks, big rubber recoil pads, and actually the difference between them is vast, which is really nice. Anyway, it makes the whole thing very much more directed, is that the word? And they do even offer a service where you can kind of mishmash their guns. So if you ask really nicely, you could get a game spec with a sport stock and so on and so forth. It's not actually an official thing they offer, but Caesar Guerini UK are an awesome company to deal with in that regard. They are very willing to help, which we like.
Yes,
we like that.
We do like
and,
that.
You know, you guys should like that too, because actually that leads to the ability to sort of mishmash a gun together to create whatever you want.
Which means you're unlikely to bump into someone with the same gun.
Yeah, which is not always a good idea. But that's by the by. They also offer a custom build service. You know, if it's something a little bit out of the ordinary and they don't want to do it for you, which is understandable, you can pretty much spec whatever you want, send it to the factory, and 6 months later you will get it. You will also get custom made stocks, you get custom fitted stocks, you can go out to the factory and they'll do that for you. The world is pretty much your oyster. They're a very helpful company, an extremely helpful company, which retails guns for not a great deal of money.
Yeah.
In line with their level of helpfulness. You know, there's a lot of companies out there that will do a fit for you, go out to the factory and that sort of thing, but there's not many that will do it on a gun that only costs a couple of grand.
No.
Which is quite pleasant. So, without further ado, let's start with this. This is the Magnus Light. The Magnus is kind of their just above entry level. This is their entry level side plate. It's not actually a side lock, but with deep engraved game scene on the Magnus, one of their most popular models. About £2,500. It's not silly money for a gun that looks this good. This is the alloy action version, and as lightweight guns go, it's about the only one I would own in the UK. Yeah. It seems to be as reliable as they come, and we've taken a few out, sold a few out that have taken a real pounding and are still putting up with it. And that is a fairly good thing, because not all lightweight guns stand sort of abuse that they get.
No.
And yeah, I think they're really nice. Ventilated top rib, single bead sight, Prince of Wales grip, and it weighs nothing. You know, really on point game gun. And everybody actually, it's one of the most popular guns in the UK at the moment because it's just such a nice, well put together thing that shoots well and doesn't break down. And is in a 20 bore.
Talking about 20 bores, we come to the Maxim.
That's the next grade up, eh?
Yeah. Now again, we've got the side plate. A game gun, of course. You've got your solid rib, solid bead.
It's a lovely touch, isn't it?
It's just nice. It's a very nice gun. The engraving, though, is just one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen.
Apparently they sell more of those than they do the Magnus overall. I don't know. It's a less traditional finish on that engraving, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not ugly though.
No, definitely not ugly. Different.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, not a problem. So, as you can see, 20 bore solid rib, you know, a full 20 bore game gun. You've got your Prince of Wales stock, lovely bit of wood, your wooden butt pad like Johnny said that they have on their game guns. I love this one.
They do lend themselves to a very adult sized 20 bore. Although they're scaled down on their small action frames, the rest of them, they're still quite a large gun, which actually is a really nice thing. I wouldn't probably sell one to, it depends on the model. They obviously do junior models, and then ladies guns, they do a really great ladies range called the Siren Range. We don't have any here to show you today, but they kind of lend themselves to being quite grown up in the way they shoot. They're a man's 20 ball really, although ladies obviously can shoot them too. They're just quite large.
I'd say that, you know, everyone can use them. They're designed for everyone to have a go. Slightly heavier weights, maybe not, maybe not the smaller people, but they are.
It's a recoil back though, which is quite nice.
Yeah, so it's a bigger person's 20 ball.
Yeah. Moving on from that, we have the Magnus Porter. If we hold it up next to the Magnus Game, you will notice completely different stock setup, completely different rib setup, although the engraving on the plates is exactly the same. This is a steel action edition, so it's considerably heavier than the lightweight, and as a sporting gun goes, they're really, really nice. Fairly heavy barrels. Should also say that they all come with a set of 8 chokes in the sporting range, which is just insane. Who needs 8 chokes?
That's a lot.
Everybody who buys a Guerini needs 8 chokes, obviously. And stock dimensions, they were actually very pleasant. They put a little bit more cast on. They are UK spec stock, so a bit more cast, a little bit more drop, and actually they've come out as really shootable guns. Really shootable guns.
They fit very well.
Very well thought out.
Yes.
Very well thought out.
Sticking with the 20 bores, I seem to have the 20 bore side, we have the Ellipse Curve.
The Naked Lady gun.
The Naked Lady gun. Now, the reason it's called the Naked Lady gun is because we have a rather risque engraving on the bottom there. Nice. We have a lady who is wearing
very little.
Very little, yes. Now, Ellipse Curve for the curved action, which is just beautiful. It's a beautiful touch.
And they've put which is something they're doing on a lot of their guns now, they're putting the flat grip Prince of Wales, which is kind of a strange looking thing, but apparently people prefer it, and I can't disagree that it does look quite nice.
Again, solid rib with their game gun, solid bead, you know, another grown up.
They're very nice guns. I mean, when you say they think that gun's what, about £4 grand, something like that?
Yeah, just under, I think, just under £4 grand.
That's a really good gun for that sort of money. They're not serious money for what you get, and you have to look at Guerini as a very good value for money brand. Like anybody who's not been established long, they're still working hard to build their name and their reputation, which is great because it means you get guns that aren't £1 million, but are worth £1 million.
Yeah.
Not really, but you get the point. We could do these together if you like.
Should we do these together? Can I go for that one?
Of course you can. What we have here is a pair of summits. So what Guerini do very well in all their sporting guns is they do different setups under the same model. So I have the Summit Standard Sporting, standard stock with a standard rib.
I have the Summit Ascent with the step up rib.
The Ascent rib.
The Ascent rib, my apologies, the Ascent rib. And then we have the adjustable cheek pad on the stock.
Yeah. They also do a high rib called the Impact, and they do all these variations in just about all of their guns, which is really nice. And again, like I say, it's just a very simple range to work out. Very simple, and there's something for everybody at every price point. Yes. I think that's a nice thing, made very clear as to how to buy a Guerini. Something we don't have on the table is the Invictus, something they've just brought out. Widest locking systems of any guns going. Really fairly, built for £1 million rounds, and I think that's where Caesar Guerini's future is going, is into really hardcore guns, guns that will never let you down.
And will last a long time.
Don't, but you have to ask, and I don't say this is a bad point, why they are so reasonably priced for what they are. They haven't been around very long, they've only been around, what, 13, 14 years. You do have to ask yourself, at some point, what they're going to be like in 20 or 30 years' time. Unlike, as we all know, some other brands have been around 100 years and they're still going strong.
Yeah.
I don't know. And only time will tell on that though. Only time will tell. Also do a 34-inch model, which is really cool. Moving on to good points again. unknown quantity is the negative point. I think that's a really nice way to sum it. They are still an unknown quantity, although they've been around a few years now. In the grand scheme, they are still a baby company in the gun making world, and they're an unknown quantity. And that's the only reason why people don't really get them.
It's not a name that's mentioned around as much as other
names. I feel like the BBC dodging other brands, so we're not doing comparisons. But like I said, they do a 34-inch barrel. There's so much choice, and that is why I think Caesar Guerini is one of the most popular, fast-growing brands in the UK. You can pretty much go in and go, I want a 34-inch gun, but I want it with a step-up rib, but I actually just want it with the standard sporting stock. I don't want it with Monte Carlo. Can you make that happen? You phone up Guerini, can I have this? La-di-da-di-da, and they go, yeah, why not? It's this much money, and you go to the customer, your gun will be with you tomorrow.
It is, I have to say, it is unbelievable how...
Service.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like Magnus Light.
I like the...
I really like their ladies' guns as well.
I think they're absolutely fantastic.
Very well thought out. They really are guns with a purpose that look fit. There you go. Caesar Guerini. Caesar Guerini. Make your Guerini a reality.
With Caesar Guerini.
Oh wow, guys! If Caesar Guerini don't use that as a tagline, I don't know who would. But farce aside, they genuinely are really lovely guns. Really lovely guns. It's just started producing fixed choke models again, which I think is really, really beneficial, and they are some of the nicest handling guns on the market at the moment. Watch this space. If you want a gun that you can pretty much spec to anything you want for very little over the retail price, check them out, see what you think. And sorry to all you guys in the USA if you don't have quite as good importers as we do. Thank you for watching.
Take care, guys.